What is up, you guys? The Fallout What If here, and today I'm doing the What If Deku was in love with Ravage. Now, hopefully you guys like it, and well, I'm just gonna start the video. Now, what happens is, after the whole fight with Deku, wait, what? Wait a minute, the whole fight with Bakugo happens, Izuku beats her, and Izuku feels this dread, and he doesn't like it. So much so that he even loses when he has the spars with the Nomus, which he usually doesn't do. But every time he uses his quirk, he just keeps getting reminded of, well, the past, and Izuku is just sick with himself. Not only that, he accidentally broke his arm while doing the training, and with him not paying attention too much, all he just sees is just her face. He wishes to rewrite those wrongs, but he doesn't feel like he can do it. And the more he keeps going down this path, the more he feels like he's becoming a monster to the people. And sure, it was like, how do I say it? At first, it was just regular people. Like, he was a villain to people who were bad to him, and he actually took pleasure in it. But not only to fight a hero that he didn't want to fight, I mean, he wanted to fight, but, his recklessness got in the way, and now he's suffering what could be a friend's death. But it matters not, because Izuku is now running away. And Izuku is just throwing up, and he doesn't feel right. He feels sick. And he pretty much does lose some weight. Even more so the fact that he is actually thin. He's now thinner. So, Izuku does go around wondering, what is he going to do? And this is when a guy looks at him from the rooftops. Izuku doesn't notice this, but when the man does come down to fight him, Izuku is well aware that this guy is someone to not be taken lightly. And the thing is, this guy doesn't look like he has any weapons on him. He looks like he has tools. And basically, he's wondering if there's anything wrong with him, and he just starts saying bracers on. And the sludge basically turns his hands into bracers, getting ready for a fight. And he just starts charging in. And he lands a punch and a kick onto the guy, but the guy doesn't even feel it. Izuku just wonders what's going on, but the guy just picks him up and just throws him onto a wall. And while this is the case, the guy ran at fast speed and actually cut checked him. And after that, he kept punching him several times in the head, causing him to almost get knocked out. And this is when Izuku just gets into this whole, well, I can't die, and switches places with the guy, and this is when he just starts trying to run away. And while doing so, Izuku shoots a grappling hook, saying grappling hook on. And this is when he just pretty much just starts flying upwards. And he says, well, he won't be able to get me here. But, as we all know, this man just uses a grappling hook as well, and just zip lines across he zips to the rooftop, and Izuku says, oh, come on, you two. And he notices that there's a bat symbol on his freaking chest. Thinking to himself, is this guy a hero? And he's wondering, is like, no, it can't be. Unless he's a hero that doesn't usually get talked about, then he's in big trouble. So he starts running, but the guy's gaining chase onto him. This is when he actually is looking for something to switch with, but there's not that much. So this is when he just jumps jumps onto the bottom of the roof, and Izuku notices that the guy is gaining on him, and he has an idea. He actually basically swaps places with the guy, and all he just sees is that the guy fell into the ground first, and Izuku is, well, on one of the lampposts. And this is when he says, I don't know who this guy was, but that was very dangerous. But why didn't he use any of it? Why didn't he use his quirk on me? That's weird. And this is when he's about to jump downwards. And he does land on his feet. But the thing is, well, he gets electrocuted because there's some blue stuff on the ground. And when we stepped on it, it causes a huge surge of electricity to go through Izuku's body, causing Izuku to basically pass out. And this is when all he sees is this one dude, the one with the bat symbol on his chest, to just walk up to him. And Izuku's last attempt was switching places with the guy, and Izuku is just, after that, sleeping. Now, with this in mind, Izuku is well, he's in this room where it seems that he can't get out of. And not only that, it's all filled with, it's all glass. So he can't do anything about that either. It's all mirrors and stuff. So Izuku's wondering, where's he at? And the guy says, where's All for One? And Izuku says, wait, what? What are you talking about? Don't deny it. I know you work with All for One. And Izuku says, I don't work for All for One, he's my dad. And this is when he says, he's your father. Huh. That puts a bit of a, what is the thing? I have to take a bit of a detour. A detour. He has to take a bit of a detour on this because he's telling him, why is he doing bad things? And Izuku says, well, I'm not doing bad things. I haven't been doing a lot of bad things for a while. And this is when the guy says, why is that? And Izuku explains, well, there's somebody who I liked, and there was somebody who I once cared about, and I hurt them, and I basically am not in a right place of mind. And this is when the guy says, you could change, but you're giving into your emotions and your power. You need to fight it. Otherwise, you won't be able to change at all. And Izuku says, well, yeah, I guess that's true. But I was wondering, how come you didn't use a quirk on me? And this is when the guy says, that's easy. I don't use my quirk at all because I don't have one. And Izuku says, huh? What are you talking about? There's people like me in this world that are known as quirkless. But I don't let that stop me at all when I have to fight for what's right. And Izuku is just wondering, he fights for justice. But why would he fight for justice when the people around his place actually hate people like him. And Izuku says, besides that, your voice, you don't speak, you're not from here. And this is when he says, I am. I use a voice defibrillator. Something sciency, technology wise. And this is when uh, he calls himself uh, Yoshikage. Not Yoshikage. He calls himself. What is a good Japanese name for an older gentleman? Because this is actually gonna be funny. This is not Bruce Wayne. He's a Wayne, but he's not Bruce Wayne. He's what's the good word here? Hmm. I really don't know one. But he calls himself something Japanese name Wayne. I'll probably find. His name is Yanagi Wayne. Yeah, Yanagi. And Yanagi is basically the great grandson of Bruce Wayne. When his son, not Damian Wayne, but we're gonna use a different Wayne. A different Wayne basically was his son, and with that, he went to Japan and he met this one girl, and basically, yeah, he's now technically half Japanese, half American. And he was in the motherland for a long time, so he speaks primarily Japanese. But he uses his English, he uses the voice that he learned in English to basically switch up, and that way nobody knows who he is. And Izuku says, "Ah, I see. But wait a minute, why are you just showing me your face? You do know that I am technically still a villain, right?" And Izuku sees Batman chuckle and he says, "I know you're a villain, but I know you're not going to hurt me." Izuku says, "Why is that?" And this is when Batman says, a lot of people try to hurt me. It doesn't usually end out in their favor." And Izuku is saying, "So, what do you want from me?" And this is when Izuku is just seeing him write a passport to him, and he says, go over here onto this location." And all he sees is this what is it called? Island. And this is when Izuku says, "Wait a minute, that's where all the smart people are at. That's where the guy that helped out All Might lived." And Izuku hears Yanagi tell him, "Correct. Now, you can turn into a new leaf and fight evil, or you could stay where you are and rot away in the evilness that villains create. The choice is the choice is obviously yours, but I'm hoping you can make the right choices." And Izuku just says, "Okay, I'll think about it." And All Might just not All Might, she's Batman just says, "That's all I can ask for." And this is when Izuku's knocked out again by some gas, and he's actually back on the streets. Now, Izuku talks to Ravage, and he says that he no longer is gonna be he's no longer gonna be working with his father, and that he's gonna turn over a new leaf. Ravage says, "Okay, but we can't do that because technically we're villains." And Izuku says that the man told me There was a man that told me that villains change, and I'm going to actually do that. This is when Izuku just starts wandering off, and actually goes back to his father and says, "Father, I need another quirk. I know I won't be able to. I know that I have already technically two quirks, but I feel like I'm ready for a third." And this is when what is his face? All for One says, "Are you sure, kid? I know that this is that you have my blood, but I don't know whether you're ready or not. This could technically change you if it doesn't, if you can't handle it." And Izuki says, "Then there's only one way to find out." All for One is skeptical, but he says, "All right." And this is when he just says, "What quirk do you want?" Uh, give me something with marbles. And this is when All for One is saying, "I don't have anything for that, but there's one that I could possibly just give you." And this is when he says, "Oh, really? What is it?" And he looks to see that there's this one guy who's technically a villain, but he decides to not do what All for One wishes. And he says this guy here has a quirk that could technically put somebody in a comatose state for a long, long time. And the way he does it is he basically encases them in a ball. And there's no limit to what you can encase as long as it's big enough to fit in there. And not only that, the weight of the person will not be the same as in the marble. So, if you want, you can have this. And Izuku is saying, yeah, cool, I'll do that. No problem. Now, Izuku is very happy to use this, and he's wondering what kind of powers would he use. This is when he says, "Turn into slingshot." And this is when the Nomu actually turns into a slingshot, and he basically just pulls a piece of, let's see, metal, and this is when he touches it and he encases it in the ball. And when he's doing that, Izuku pretty much just grabs the marble and just aims at one of the other Nomus that's just there. And when he lets go, he pretty much just sees it hit him, and Izuku says, "Is there any way to let it not be a ball forever?" And, and this is when All for One says, "Why don't you try it again and see if you can actually control it?" And Izuku grabs he grabs the marble, and then after that, he uses it, launches it backwards, and just slingshots it back into the Nomu again. This time he lets go of the crystallization or something. He uses his quirk to basically let it become to free the marble. I don't know how to explain it. He frees the marble, which has the pipe inside, and then afterwards, the pipe actually goes at a very fast speed, hitting the freaking Nomu. While hitting the Nomu, actually stabs it in the freaking chest. And Izuku says that this thing can actually be very useful if he uses it right. And All for One says, "All right then. Now, why don't you and your lovely wife now go on and do something fun? And and this is when he says, "Dad, would you get mad at me if I ever become a hero?" This is when All For One says, "Why do you ask that now?" And Izuku says, "I don't know whether if being a villain is something I really want." And this is when All For One would say, "I can't tell you that that I can allow it if you were to stay here, but your mother would say the same thing too if you kept being a villain. Just know that if you do need my help, I wouldn't be in, I wouldn't decline it, but I wouldn't also accept it as well. One is for personal reasons, and one is just strictly business." And Izuku just looks down and he just says, "Alright, I don't want to be a villain anymore, father. I've seen what it's done, and I hurt somebody I truly cared about." And All For One says, "Yes, you told me before. Bakugo was the name." And this is when Ravage says, "Bakugo." And he says, "I hurt her, and it was my fault." And she says, "Her? Is she... Izuku, do you like this girl?" And this is when Izuku says, "Well, no, I mean, like, she's, pretty and all, but I wouldn't say that I'm actually, it's not cheating, because, I'm not actually, I'm just, she's been my childhood friend, and I haven't actually talked to her in a very long time, and, it's actually, it sucks that I actually did something horrible to her." And Ravage says, "My gosh. If it goes down to it, I don't know why, but having a harem for you wouldn't be too bad, since, technically you're gonna be a powerful partner for me." And Izuku says, "Oh, you're so freaking nice to me." And she basically gut punches Izuku, and Izuku says, "Yep, I deserve that. Oh boy." And he looks seriously at his father and says, "I'm gonna become a hero. I can't say that I'll do a good job, and I hope that I don't ever have to put you into jail." And this is when All For One laughs, and he says, "Ha ha ha, I like that, son. You have the confidence to at least know that you can you can fight me. I hope as well that I don't have to fight you, son. There's one person that possibly will be the downfall of me." And Izuku says, "Who's that?" The successor to to One For All." And Izuku is wondering to himself, if he has that power, could that mean he could be a good hero? And he says, "No. No, 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 no. I'm going to be a hero my own way. I won't be accepted by society all the time, but I can do what's right." Now, after this, this is when he says, "There is a place in UA that can need people like you." And Izuku says, "What are you talking about?" And this is when All For One says, "Well, UA is also a school, but there's also a college as well. So technically, you can join." And this is when Izuku is just kind of excited, saying that, "I never got to go to school all the time, and after all those years." And he kind of gets reminded of the times he kept getting bullied before he had a quirk. And this is when he says, well, it doesn't matter to me as long as I get to actually fight people. I'll protect anybody, even if it means fighting you, Father. And this is when All For One says, you're grown gutsy, kid. But now it is time. It is time for us to do one last thing. Let's have a nice celebration. And this is when I'm gonna leave it off here. Now, there's gonna be at least a couple of more parts to this, and there will be a conclusion. Now, I know that you guys may be wondering, why is he becoming good? Well, Batman kind of stuck into his head. And not only that, we'll see more of Batman afterwards. Believe me, we can't just have Batman for one episode. He needs to be at least there a couple of more times. But anyway, like, comment, do subscribe to the channel here, people. This has been the Fallout. What if you're here? Bye.